I'm sorry, our operating...
Swiftcover.com. Car insurance without call centres.
Here at Manicourt, a record 8th victory in the French Grand Prix for Michael Schumacher, but importantly, Fernando Alonso took second place and limited the damage. He concedes only 2 of those vital World Championship points to Michael Schumacher. His lead remains at 17 points after 11 rounds of this Drivers' Championship, but the tension is mounting. And in the Constructors' Championship, well, the renewed form of Ferrari in evidence there as well, as they close the gap on Renault to 21 points. But the message, Mark Blundell, as we come away from this French Grand Prix, Schumacher could take this title, couldn't he?
He could indeed. I mean, it needs only a couple more races where he keeps winning, and maybe Alonso has some small problems, and Schumacher's going to be right in the hunt come the end of the championship calendar. Ferrari, Schumacher, Bridgestone have made some real progress these last 2 Grand Prix.
The race began with an all-Ferrari front row, and Felipe Massa, alongside Schumacher, did a wonderful job for his team, didn't he?
He did exactly what was requested of him. That was to be the support role for Michael Schumacher. But what we were a bit concerned about was the fast start in Renault of Alonso, and he may well have got the jump on the front row. And in fact, he did try and do that alongside Massa as they came into one, but he just got squeezed out. And I think Alonso was very sensible in his approach. He just backed out of it and just managed to take a little bit of the risk out of that. It could have been a big problem for him, but it was a sensible decision he made. Just watch him go in here. Look, he gets alongside Massa, thinks twice about it, and at that point in time, he just backs away from that decision.
Well, Pat Simmons of Renault has just joined us, looking at the start one more time, and that was a plan that didn't quite work from the Renault point of view.
Yeah, absolutely. We thought the race would be very much determined in that first lap. It was determined in that first lap. We knew that if we didn't get past Massa, we were strategically a little bit in a corner. And that's exactly what happened. We had to really just ensure the second position then. It was reasonably obvious that we were going to get caught there, and that's just what happened.
And it was a bit tense in landing that second place position. You're mighty relieved to have got it, I'm sure, and sort of limited the damage in terms of the championship. What sort of traffic problems was Fernando experiencing out there?
Yeah, quite a few. We were having some difficulty with that. We had a communication breakdown as well on the pit wall, so we weren't able to contact Charlie as easily as we normally do. So it really was getting a bit difficult, but I don't think it actually had any effect on the outcome of the race.
What about his strategy, Pat? Did you change your strategy halfway through that race? Because it looked like to me you're on a free stopper and maybe you switched to 2.
Yeah, we actually had it very open as to whether we were going to do a 2 or a 3. We felt that if we got in front of Massa on the first lap, it would probably have been a 3. When we didn't, it was very obviously a 2. And very much the same with Giancarlo as well. We really had to do a bit of damage limitation. What is the Ferrari Bridgestone advantage now, and how do you feel you can close it for Hockenheim with the changes that you've got on stream? Well, we've got a lot of changes coming on the car. We've got a big aerodynamic package coming for Hockenheim. We've got some improvements on the engine. Tyre-wise, yeah, they did have the advantage because they had the single lap and they had better degradation in the race. So really, you know, that makes it very difficult to race them. But I've said all along, this is going to be very much a tyre battle. It's going to go up and down, and I hope we get back at them in Hockenheim. It's going to be quite a tense battle. Tremendous climax to the season. Let's get the thoughts of Ross Brawn at Ferrari. He's with Ted.
Well, congratulations, Ross. The tyres were perfect, really, weren't they? And you had it under control all the way through.
We did with Michael. The tyres are a little bit delicate, but that was a choice we made to have the performance in qualifying. So we had to manage the situation, not push too hard at the beginning. But they went away from Felipe a bit in the middle of the race. So just a slight disappointment he couldn't beat Fernando, but we shouldn't be too greedy.
So bittersweet, really, is it? Because Fernando's kept the championship advantage, finishing second like that.
Yes, it's not such a gain in the points as we hope, but it's a good gain in the constructors. That's important as well. So, and yeah, we're going in the right direction. That's important.
Yeah, I mean, Ferrari clearly feel they're back in this championship.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, it's great for the team.
Michael, what a day. It looked like a perfect day for you. 3-stop strategy, held the lead at the end, and Felipe behind you in the early phase of the race, that important phase.
Yeah, we had a good start, and we drove our race from there. We were not sure how the race would go because we didn't do any long runs due to some problems we had on Saturday morning. So it was a little bit of a guess where and how the race would go. But I have to say, that the car, the tyres, the whole package just really worked superbly, and a great result. I'm sorry for Philippe, he couldn't keep his second, but nevertheless, back on the podium, and important points we got from that.
And we'll have more reaction in our highlights programme. One rumour in the paddock at the moment I must put to you, the thought that Fernando Alonso is trying to negotiate his way out of his McLaren contract for next year to stay with Renault. Thoughts on that?
Well, we've heard that. We've heard somebody else, French TV, I think, have put that out on their transmission. But at this moment, I believe that's a little bit of destabilising tactics. Maybe from Flavio Briatore, just have a little dig at McLaren, and also just maybe to say to Kimi Raikkonen and his management, OK, boys, let's get a move on. I need to fill this seat, and maybe the world champion will come back and stay with the team for next season. OK, it's another ingredient to a fascinating climax to the season. As I say, we've got our highlights programme a little bit later this evening, but a lot of motorsport still to come on ITV1 this afternoon. Stay tuned and you'll see British Superbikes from Knockhill in Scotland, followed at 4:15 by the British Touring Car Championship live from Croft, and then Grand Prix highlights at 11:15. And if that wasn't enough, if you want to be an F1 driver, take a look at the Men and Motors channel in a few minutes' time. The Tour de France, that goes on. Today's action, that's on ITV4 at 7 o'clock this evening, and the nightly coverage will continue throughout the week. And in 2 weeks' time, we're in Hockenheim for round 12, the German Grand Prix, qualifying at the slightly earlier time of 10 past 12 on the Saturday, and race coverage that will be at 12 noon on Sunday, with highlights, of course, at midnight. And it's all warming up, this Formula One World Championship. Ferrari have come alive, and I'm sure that Michael Schumacher in particular can't wait for Hockenheim to come after taking yet another victory here in the French Grand Prix. Win number 8 for Schumacher at Manicourt. Goodbye from us all.
The pit lane is closed at the moment.
What?
The pits are open 9 to 5, Monday to Friday.
SwiftCover.com. Car insurance without call centres.
Visit itv.com/F1 for the latest updates from James Allen and the team, sponsored by SwiftCover.com.